Get that energy going and keep it going by singing together our first song, which is I Start My Day.
I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. I start my day with love. When I start my day with love, that's what I get more of is love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. I start my day with peace. When I start my day with peace, I feel that sweet release of peace. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, peace, peace. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is used with joy. I start my day with joy. When I start my day with joy, everything I do is used with joy. Joy, joy, joy. Joy, joy, joy. I start my day with love. I start my day with peace. I start my day with joy, and I feel that sweet release.
There we go. Namaste. Namaste. The Christ in me welcomes the Christ in you. Welcome home. Welcome to Unity of the White Mountains. And let's get started by coming together in conscious oneness. So I invite you to close your outer eyes and take in a deep breath. And as we release that breath, we release any negativity, any resentment that we may be holding on to, any and all unforgiveness. And as we release that, we open our hearts to love, joy, and peace. And in this state of conscious oneness, we envision a world of peace and joy, where we reach out to each other, support each other, lift each other up, feed each other, respect each other, love each other. Thank you, God. Amen. And please join me in our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God, goodness, omnipotence. And now, our daily word from Linda Hoy.
Thank you, Reverend Sheryl. I'm Linda Hoy, Prayer Chaplain Coordinator, and our word for today is free. And our affirmation is, I am one with the freeing guidance force of God. When I think of freedom, I imagine a bird in flight, soaring above the earth. As the bird glides, it seems to effortlessly move through the air. Then it flaps its wings, moving upward and forward against the force of gravity. Likewise, I open my mind and heart and feel the freeing force of God within. This force is powerful and peaceful, and I give myself over to it. As I do, I overcome stifling feelings of stress or doubt. I trust in God, and I move forward and upward with renewed purpose and confidence. Just as a bird overcomes the gravity to fly with purpose, I overcome the challenges and circumstances of my life to find my purpose and live from my divine nature. I am free. And from Hebrews chapter 13, verse 6, so we can say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can anyone do to me? And let's share together today's affirmation. I am one with the freeing guiding force of God.
Heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway, heaven guide me. Heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm lost and confused, heaven lead the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, heaven guide me, heaven show me the way, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway, when I'm reaching for you, will you meet me halfway?
I'm on, aren't I? Yes. Yep. But thank you for that. A farmer was looking for a farmhand. So he went down to the local store and posted a poster that said he was looking for farmhands. And the next day, 3 people showed up. And he interviewed each one with the normal questions. But then at the end, he asked kind of a strange question. He asked the first man, okay, tell me, how long can you work during the day with a stone in your shoe? And the man looked at him kind of strangely and said, probably a half a day. I can work a whole half day with a stone in my shoe. He said, okay. The next man came in. He asked him the same question. He said, I can work the whole day with a stone in my shoe. He left, and the third one came in. And the farmer asked him, how long can you work with a stone in your shoe? The young man looked at him and said, not 1 minute. I take it out immediately. And the farmer hired him on the spot. Well, my question to you this morning is, how many stones do you have in your heart? Because unforgiveness is a metaphorical stone in our hearts. It blocks us from opening up to love. So today we're going to talk about forgiveness. And this is continuing our series where we are creating a daily prayer practice. And we're doing that by incorporating 3 different things. First, we're incorporating the Lord's Prayer. And one of the reasons that we are using the Lord's Prayer is because most of us know it. Even if we haven't said it in a couple of years, I could start saying it and everyone would follow along. And another reason is that I think the Lord's Prayer has elements in it that can really bring us into that connection. Sometimes we have to change a few words, which we've done, but I think that it's a good foundation. And the other 2 elements that we are using are the chakras. So that is a place in our body that we need to open up. And then Unity's 12 powers, which surprisingly to me go together quite well. So we are creating a practice here that incorporates mind, spirit, and body. And I find when I have a practice that incorporates all parts of me, that I can get deeper into a deeper place quicker. So let's take a review. The first stanza that we talked about is, Our Father, hallowed is thy name. We talked a little bit about those words, Our Father. And how, for me, it gives me that idea of that anthropomorphic God out there judging me with a white beard. So I invited you to come up with some words that might better describe what your version of God is. Now, I see God as an energy of love. So I've used the words, our divine essence. But use whatever it is that resonates with you. And then holy is your name. And I believe this is the most important part of this prayer because we are setting an intention. We are saying our divine essence and the sacredness of that. We're saying it out loud. And when we look at our chakras, the chakra that we put together with this is the crown chakra. The crown chakra is that connection with the God of our understanding, that connection with universal energy. And in the chakras, we see that as a white light. Now, in our 12 powers, we see at the top, at the crown of the head, I am, and the Christ. So in the 12 powers, we see that also as our connection with God. The next week, we talked about, come on, our kingdom is come. Thy will is done. We've all heard that. Well, we talked a bit about that and how we believe that whatever we think about, whatever we focus on, we bring into our life. So we change this to, my kingdom is come. Whatever I see the world to be, that's what I'm going to experience. And whatever our will is, whether it comes from our personality or from our higher self, we're going to experience that also. So it goes along very well. I must need new batteries here. With the third eye chakra. And the third eye chakra, when it's open, we see things for how they truly are. The veil is lifted, and we see good. We see God in everything and everyone. And when we go to our 12 powers chart, we find that the power of imagination is our third eye. So we image, we imagine what we experience, don't we? So our kingdom is come. And then last week, we went over the stanza that you give us this day our daily bread. And we talked about how the daily bread kind of gets in the way of thinking of actual bread or material things. But when we looked at bread metaphysically, we found that that was spiritual sustenance. The spiritual truth that feeds us. So when we looked at that stanza, then we looked at the chakra, we found that it's the throat chakra. The throat chakra opens us up to communication. The throat chakra, when it's open, we speak words of purity and truth. And again, when we go over to our 12 powers, we see that the throat is the power of power. And it is power and dominion over our thoughts and words. Because our words come from our thoughts. The minute we open up our mouth, we're showing our consciousness to everyone, aren't we? Because whatever we think, we're going to express. And words are very powerful. They send a vibration out to the entire universe. This week, we're going on to the next statement. And it's about forgiveness. We know it as, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And when we look at this, it's got some ancient language in it. And as we contemplate this, so forgive us our debts, or some people say sins, as we have forgiven the people that have sinned against us. So what does that really mean? Well, when we take a look at the Aramaic translation, we see that debts is translated as error. So forgive us our errors, our mistakes, the times when we weren't our greatest and highest self. And we've all had those times, haven't we? And when we look at the word forgive, it means cancel, untie, and release. So release us from that stone in our shoe. Release us from that pain that we are deciding to carry around with us. So when we look at that stanza, so we're seeing that forgiveness is really giving up of that pain, of that resentment, of that anger for our highest self, for peace and love and joy. So when we look at, when we go down to our next chakra, we find that it is the heart chakra. Isn't that interesting? And that heart chakra they consider it the bridge between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. It's what brings everything together in love. And when we look at our 12 powers, we see right here, centered in the middle of our chest, is the power of love. And the power of love connects us with all things. But it's also a way of seeing. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, said, love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. So on insisting to see only the good, that's how we open up our heart chakras. That's how we become open to love. Because if we make the choice to see love everywhere we go, to see good, and that there is good in it, then that's what we're going to experience, isn't it? So this is something, an ability, something that we all have within us, but we're not always tapped into. Lindsay Noble-Calver said, I think I'm ahead one. No, I'm not. Love is the inner quality that sees good no, that's Charles. The foundation to move through the high vibrational qualities of the heart chakra begins down the road of forgiveness. Oh no, the F word again. Each time you are given an opportunity to forgive someone who has wronged you, you also have the chance to forgive yourself? What is that all about? So every time we forgive someone else for what they did to us, for how they betrayed us or how they did us wrong, then we have the opportunity to forgive ourselves? Well, if you look at this a little bit deeper, we understand that everything that we experience is a reflection of what we believe. So maybe if there is some forgiveness that we need to do out here, maybe it really has to do with some forgiveness we have to do right here within. Maybe we have to forgive ourselves. And once we do that, we can open ourselves up. Open ourselves up to love and being loved. There's a great story about a small town in Spain. And there was a man named Jorge. And he had a bitter argument with his son Paco. And it was so bitter that the next time that Jorge checked his room, he was gone. He had run away. Well, Jorge thought about the things that he had said. And he was very, very remorseful. So he wrote up this huge poster that said, Paco, please come home. I'm sorry. I love you. He put it up in the store, and it also said, meet me here tomorrow morning. He put it up in a store in the middle of the town, and the next morning he goes down to the store hoping his son was there. Not only was his son there, 7 other Pacos were there. They were hoping that it was them that they were answering that call for love. And see, when we can let go of our pettiness, our resentments, our anger, when we can let that go, and when we can say, I'm sorry, then we welcome other people home, but most of all, we welcome ourselves home. We let go of that negativity and that darkness that we're holding on to. Lindsay Noble-Calver again said, at the root, all of life, people and circumstances are reflections of yourself. Your thoughts, and how you treat yourself. Often we search for love outside ourselves, but the greatest act of love is to love ourselves unconditionally. The greatest act of love is to love ourselves unconditionally. The lesson of the heart chakra is learning how to make loving yourself the highest priority. And in our culture, when we think about loving ourselves, we often think, well, isn't that selfish? And if we do it from our personality, it can become very selfish and narcissistic, can it? But if we're doing it from our higher selves, if we are truly loving who we are, our highest nature, our divine self, and forgiving ourselves for all those things, all those times when we weren't our highest self, then what we do is release that energy and open ourselves up to where we can truly love someone else. I get this all the time in relationships where I'll have a couple in front of me and it's all their fault. They made me feel this way. And when they can get to the point when they realize that other person is not responsible for their feelings, but also realize that this is a symptom of some healing work they need to do. When they can get to that point, then everything shifts. When we see that it's really about us and not someone else, then we're healed. I remember one time I invited someone over for dinner. And, I used to work on a launch pad, so time is at the essence of me. I'm watching that clock all the time. And the time when he said he was going to be there came. And then 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I looked out the window, and he was next door helping the person next door shovel her driveway. How dare he? And boy, I could feel that anger just coming up. And when he walked through the door, I started on him. I said, this time, be here. I cook dinner. I don't do that. And you weren't here on time. I tell you, you're out helping the next door neighbor. My father, my father did that, and I felt like he was spending all the time with everybody else, but not me. Ooh, who's that about? Not him. He was just helping the neighbor. But do you see how I was reflecting my own unforgiveness towards my father out to him? And luckily, he just sat there listening to me, didn't defend himself or anything else, and I could work it out and say, whoa, this is really something I need to work on. So if we are holding on to anything, it reflects out of us. And a lot of times we're not even aware of it. But it shows. Lindsay goes on to say, when we hold grudges against other people or ourselves, we quite literally block ourselves from the receptive qualities of the heart chakra that the heart chakra offers: compassion, empathy, gratitude, joy, and peace. So we have to take a look at why is this triggering us? And we have to look at all of those blocks that we may be holding on to. It's a process. And in unity, when we talk about forgiveness, we talk about meditation, we talk about journaling, we talk about denials, which are statements that this has no power over me, and affirmations, affirming the truth. Well, I was curious that those that teach the chakras, the Eastern, that believe in the Eastern tradition, what they teach about forgiveness. First, they say, meditate on self-love. How do you do that? Well, you sit in a quiet place and just love yourself. Just sit in gratitude. And if you're looking for a lead meditation, they're all over YouTube. Insight Timer is a great app that has a lot of self-love meditations. But just sitting in the silence and focusing on yourself, maybe your history, maybe some parts that you're not real proud of. And reframe those parts. Say, wait a minute, because I went through that crisis, because I acted the way I did, these are the things I've changed in myself or recognized about myself. I became more self-aware. You can also use mantras. Another thing that you can use as you're going through the Lord's Prayer and the different chakras are different mantras. Om, each one has a different sound. The next thing they suggested was to journal. And this has been very healing for me. When I have something that's bothering me, I set it as a priority now. I get out my journal, I sit down, no matter what else I have going on, and I just start writing. And when we're journaling, we just let out whatever we're feeling. And like talking to someone that's a good listener, journaling is having a safe space where you can really say what you're thinking. And then you can ask yourself, okay, well, where is this coming from? Why am I thinking this way? Next one that they suggest is affirmations. And affirmations can be very powerful, especially I find when it has to do with forgiveness. When I catch myself resenting someone or being angry with someone, hopefully quickly I get to my affirmations and I affirm the truth. Now the first one is from Ho'oponopono, help me out here, the Hawaiian belief system. I have never been able to pronounce that, but I love this affirmation. I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. And this is really good for self-love also. Looking in the mirror and saying this to yourself. The next one, actually, I got from Linda. And I believe this is a religious science affirmation, correct? I love, bless, forgive, and release whoever it is to their greatest and highest good. And if you're like me, you have to say this a few times to really get to stick. But say it until you feel it. And this is one of my favorites. I use this every day. My past relationships are complete, and I accept the healing. So that's another thing that you can write down in your journal. Some affirmations that you can use. And if you open yourself up and say, okay, show me, tell me what I need to affirm here, it'll come to you. The right words will come to you. So this week, I invite you to think about the stones you're carrying around in your heart. Think about those things that still tweak you when you see a certain person or remember a certain incident or hear certain words. And then go through these different tools and see if they don't help release it. Another thing that I have found extremely helpful, because forgiveness is really hard sometimes, is that I just ask the universe to show me how to forgive. One day I sat down in my meditation chair after a divorce, and I'm ready to meditate, got my meditation music on, and all of this stuff starts coming back again. Oh, that guy, if he didn't do this, da 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 da. And I just started going down that rabbit hole. And I'm sitting in my meditation chair.
I didn't understand that.
Siri didn't understand that. I didn't either. Boy, was that on time. And then I started going after myself. What is wrong with you, Sheryl? You're still carrying this around with you. But then I turned inward and I said, help me to release this. It's time. I need to let this go. And I got this inner guidance to open my eyes. And as I opened my eyes, I saw all of these artifacts that we had gotten on trips and these pictures of me and the ex. And they were still there.
Here's what I found.
Okay, here, Siri, I'm going to have to turn you off. And so I said, all right, I see now that I'm constantly being reminded of this. Now what? And the voice told me, take every artifact, bless it, say thank you, and either throw it away or give it away. And I spent all afternoon doing that. And when I did, it was like something was lifted from me. So ask the Spirit of God within you, what do I need to do to let go of this? Because I found that forgiveness takes a different form most times. Things that worked before don't always work for whatever it is you're dealing with right now. So this week, focus on forgiveness. And when I took a look at this, I think instead of these old words, that it's more succinct and to the point if we just say, I forgive myself and others. So let's take this time to practice what we have so far. I invite you to go ahead and get comfortable in your seats. Take a deep cleansing breath. And turn your focus inward. And as we relax into our seats, we allow these words to become your own. Our divine essence. Holy is your name. And as we speak those words, we focus on the crown of our heads. And we see this white light entering into the top of our heads. We see that connection with all beings, all things, with universal energy. We see that connection that we have. And we allow that white light to bathe us. And we affirm, I open my crown chakra and connect with the spirit of the divine within me. My kingdom is come. We move our focus to in between our eyebrows, our third eye. And we see indigo light, a wheel of indigo light where our third eye is. And it's through this power center, through this chakra, that we see the truth. We see the good in all things. I now open my third eye chakra, and I activate my power of imagination. I see, perceive, and judge from the perspective of my highest self. You give us this day. We focus on our throat and see a disc of light blue light. And we affirm, I open my throat chakra and activate the power of power. I am impeccable with my words. I forgive myself and all others. We move our focus to our hearts, to the center of our chest, and imagine a green disc of light. And we feel that chakra opening, giving love and accepting love. I open my heart chakra and activate my power of love. I am a radiating center of divine love. And as we bring our attentions back to this place and time, we bring with us an open crown chakra, a third eye that is open and seeing the good in all things, an open throat chakra. We speak words of peace and joy and love. And an open heart chakra. We are love. And for this we are so grateful. Thank you. Thank you, God. Amen.
Spirit, let me hear you. Spirit, let me hear you. Spirit, let me hear you in my heart, my heart. Now I am with you. Now I am with you. Now I am with you in my heart, my heart. Spirit, I am listening. Spirit, I am listening. Spirit, I am listening in my heart, my heart. Spirit, I'm transforming. Spirit, I'm transforming. Spirit, I'm transforming in my heart, my heart.
In Unity, we welcome everyone. And we would like to get to know you. So if you are comfortable, this is a time when we stand up and say who we are. And if you want to say a few words about where you're from and why you're here, we'd enjoy that too. So is there anyone willing to introduce themselves to us that's here for the first time today? Anybody? Yes, please stand up. Welcome. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Carol. My first time here, I used to be in religious science and seeing what you guys are all about. So I think it's wonderful. And I'm here 6 months out of the year, and it's Sunset number 6.
Well, great. Welcome, Carol. We're glad you're here.
Brian, this is Irene. We were visiting my grandmother. We put amazing pictures.
Excellent. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Okay. Did I get everyone? Well, welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here today, and we're glad that we're getting some of the snowbirds or the summer people back up again. We're glad to welcome back. And now, Doug is not here today, but Linda is going to, is it Linda or is it your other alter ego that's going to do our announcements today?
Well, you know, since we missed Cinco de Mayo, I was going to do the announcements in Spanish. Entonces, bienvenidos todos la Unity de las Montañas Blancas. I'm not going to do any more, okay? Okay, I'll leave Lucille behind. First of all, I want to remind you of Sue's cruise. That's May 13th. And Reverend Sheryl has asked if you're going to volunteer at the table to meet here at 8:30 on the morning of the 13th to load up chairs and all of those wonderful things you're going to be bringing, which I will enumerate now. Peanut butter and honey sandwiches, power bars, and water. So if we could all think about adding those things to help those people on what they're doing. I'm not going to do that.
And we're going to meet up across from the Safeway. That's where our table is.
Okay.
And it's for all the walkers that walk like 30 miles in one day.
In Lakeside.
In Lakeside.
That's
so
Safeway.
it's Lakeside Safeway across the street.
Great. And then next week, Mother's Day, the think tank is serving us breakfast. And we're going to have waffles and bacon, fresh fruit, and she wanted me to remind you, whipped cream. And coffee, hot tea, and juice. And the think tank is providing that event for us. Then on May 28th, and put this on your calendar, please, we're having a Unity picnic. And it's going to be at Joy's house. And hot dogs and hamburgers are going to be served. But please bring a dish. You know, something to share. Then next, the tickets for Daniel Namod are on sale today, and he's going to be performing here on June the 9th. He's going to be right close to us. The tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door. But I encourage you, this is a guy you don't want to miss. He is so wonderful. So I said that. Okay, I think I said everything. And if not, I'll be at the back and ask me what I've forgotten, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Oh, Rusty, did you have something?
Meditation's available after service today in the local purpose room.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Now, a lot of people are confused about what unity is all about. Well, first of all, we believe that God is in everything, more of an essence. I like to think of God as an energy, something that's in every particle of all the universes. And therefore, if that's true, then I am. That I am created in the likeness and image of God. So I am divine. But I don't always act divine. And I don't act that way because I don't always think that way. So one of the laws that we believe in is the law of mind action, also called the law of attraction. That whatever we focus on, we bring into our lives. We experience because that's the way we're thinking. So we really work on what we're thinking. And we do that with affirmative prayer, affirming what we know to be true, and meditation, spending time in the silence, just connecting with the divine. And in unity, it's much more than knowing all of these principles by heart. It's practicing them in our everyday life. That's why we spend so much time coming up with practices that really resonate and help us to get into that divine space. So let's go ahead and practice by affirming together our mission statement. Together, spiritually transforming together in unity. And our vision, to become our authentic selves in a comfortable, supportive environment through classes, events, and community involvement. And prayer is a very important part of that. There are times when we can't see good in everything. We can't see God in everything. And that's why when we call on our prayer team. And they hold that sacred space for us. They hold the truth that no matter what we're going through, that God is in it. And that's when we call or we email Linda Hoy at unitywm.org, or we go to our website, unitywm.org, and click on prayer requests. And we affirm that truth for you here 30 days, and then Linda sends all of the prayer requests to Silent Unity, and they affirm the truth for you for another 30 days. So if you need prayer today, Linda will be here at the door, and she will pray with you one-on-one. We have our prayer box where you can put your prayer requests in, and you should find them in the seat back in front of you. Or just call or email. And now is our turn to give back, and we have lots of ways to do that. This should also be in the seat back in front of you. So if you want, you can use the QR code, or you can text, or you can hit paypal.me/UnityWM. We have receptacles in the back, but no matter how you give, we are so grateful. So I ask you now to get into that space of gratitude, of thankfulness for being here today with your spiritual community, for this place, for all the Unity churches and all the churches and mosques and anywhere that people come together in the name of their highest self. And let's say our affirmation together. Divine substance flows through me, blessing and multiplying all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And now we're going back to an old favorite, so I ask you to stand if you're able and sing the peace song with us.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And our spiritual home affirmation. Our spiritual home is filled with God's bounty, endless love, and an abiding sense of oneness. Thank you, God. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a great week. Thank you for coming today.